It's Tell the Truth Monday on The Hoffman Show.
Yeah.
Call us now at 301-230-0980 to tell the truth about the Commanders. Or hit the comment section at the Team 980 on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Let's get it, baby.
You can hit it just. I could have just done it with the NFL music the whole time, and no one would have known the difference.
That does sound cool.
But here's the deal. You're going to call us up at 301-230-0980, and in honor of Dan Quinn's Tell the Truth Monday, you are going to tell us the truth about the game. You can also drop a comment in the YouTube chat at the Team 980. Let's go to Jamal. Jamal, thanks for calling. You're on the Hoffman Show.
What's going on, fellas?
What's up, Jamal? Tell us the truth about what you thought about this game against the Bucs, and the truth coming out of it is?
The truth coming out of it is that I feel like we as a fan base, we overrate a lot of players there. Like, prior to watching that game, I like everyone else thought Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Terry McLaurin were like primetime players. But as you look at other real players like Chris Jones, or you look at like a CeeDee Lamb, or you look like guys who really are what we say these guys are, they don't do that. And I'm not saying that they're bad players. They're not. But they just aren't what we talk about them to be as we do here. And I feel like that's evident. I mean, there's too many games with Terry McLaurin just doesn't make a catch to the second half, if at all. And I understand some of that isn't his fault. But, however, that doesn't happen to other guys who have probably the same or worse situation. I mean, hell, Devontae has been consistent, even with Minshew getting them killed. Like, there's other guys who just every year they seem to actually be what they are. And, again, that doesn't mean that these guys won't be good. But right now, they just aren't that. So that's the truth that I'm taking away from it, fellas. And I feel like we can still win 6 to 7 games.
All right, Jamal's phone is going. Thanks, Jamal. Your phone was going out a little bit at the end, but I think it's a great call. I'm going to let you go because your phone's dying on me. But I think that's actually a great call from Jamal, because I will be the first one to tell you that Jamal is correct. Terry McLaurin is not Justin Jefferson. He's not Devontae Adams. He's not CeeDee Lamb. He's not the best of the best in the NFL. But if you call me and tell me that Terry McLaurin sucks, I'm going to tell you you don't know anything about football, and I'm right. Because he doesn't suck. He's really exceptionally good, but he's not so good that he's situationally independent. He is reliant. I mean, to an extent, every receiver is, but it seems like Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, and like some of these guys always find a way, and Terry doesn't. If I was Cliff Kingsbury, I would make sure that Terry's getting those kinds of looks. I would be trying to force him the ball a little bit more, but even yesterday, he just doesn't have the target numbers. And I will say for Terry, I feel bad yesterday because if he has the one deep catch, that's not his fault. That's Jaden Daniels. He missed him. He's wide open. You have to put that ball on him. He ran right by the corner. And then later, he runs right by a corner and a safety, and Jaden looks to be staring right at him, and for some reason, he doesn't throw it. And, like, he has those 2 catches with the yardage that he has otherwise. We're talking about 2 catches for, or 4 or 5 catches for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, and nobody's calling today saying Terry McLaurin's anything other than amazing, and why hasn't he just had a Jaden Daniels all along? And the truth would still be exactly what Jamal just said, which is that Terry is not the same player as like Justin Jefferson, who just needs a quarterback. Those dudes are on a different level, but Terry's still really good. John Allen is really good, but he's not Chris Jones. He's not Aaron Donald. He's not the best of the best. I think that is an important caveat, and it's also why I keep telling everybody that'll listen that this team is years away, because they need multiple blue chip players, and they just don't seem to have any right now. I think there's at least 2 potentially on their roster. I think Sainer still could be an amazing nickel. I think Jaden could be a top-flight quarterback. It's going to take time, because that's how it goes in this league. And if you look at rookies around the league, especially the quarterback position yesterday, we have plenty of proof of that. Tell the Truth Monday here on the Hoffman Show, 301-230-0980. Let's go to Vincent. Vincent, what you got for your truth on this Monday?
Well, the truth is, what I see is the same thing I've seen in Dallas with Dan Quinn. They can't stop the run, and the pass defense sucks. And the same thing Dallas was experienced with Dan Quinn, he comes in with the same identical thing. Put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, But in the same token, you can't stop a team from moving down the field. The team just went right down the field. Same thing they was doing when he was with Dallas.
I think that's an interesting call. I'll put it that way, Vincent. The thing is, Dan Quinn coordinated. I'm trying to pull up the stats so I make this exactly right here. But I am fairly certain that they were certainly a top half defense. Here we go. Total defense in points. They were top 5 2 years, 2 years in a row, top 10 all 3 years that he was in Dallas in points. So, you're going to have to miss me with the, they gave up so much. Their rush defense in Dallas, his 3 years, was 7th, 3rd, and 11th. So, I would hope that they can get to where they were in Dallas. But here's the big difference, right? Because in yards per attempt, they actually were back half of the league. But they were able to get ahead on teams because they had a better offense and Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb and all those dudes. They were able to rush the passer and finish plays. They got teams in bad down and distances because they actually finished on the pass rush. And they were first, and 12th in takeaways. And that is going to be the key. You can move the ball on this style of defense. It's hyper aggressive and there are opportunities, but it comes at a risk. And unless that risk is realized with turnovers, it could be a long year for Washington. And also, again, defensively, this is much more a Jimmy's and Joe's problems than an X's and O's problem. Not that the X's and O's are perfect. Both things can be true. But they gotta improve that personnel on the defensive side of the ball. And I have a feeling that is a big investment they'll make in the next offseason. 301-230-0980. Tell the Truth Monday. Let's wrap up here with Darren. Darren, thanks for calling. You're on the Hoffman Show.
Hey, Craig. Now, the truth of the matter, Craig, is we know it takes a time for the secondary to gel. We all know that, to get camaraderie. But if I said that correct, that word.
Camaraderie, anyway, yeah, that works. That works for me.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Thank you for accepting it. Craig, but the thing is this is the truth of the matter. My point is Terry McLaurin is number 2 receiver on any good team in the NFL. He is not a great number 1, some type of receiver. That he wouldn't be a number 1 receiver. My point on some of the better teams in the NFL. And these corners are only as good as the players they practice against. So if Forbes strap up Terry in practice, of course the coaches are clapping their hands. Oh, good job! Yeah, he's balling, But he's doing it against basically a number 2 receiver. I think my point is this: they're only as good as the people they practice against. That's why Mike Evans, even though he burns everybody, that's why they take him for granted, take him for bad. And you see how soft Forbes is. I mean, Godwin just barely touched him, and he flew back a half a mile. I mean, they just push over him so easy and get separation.
Yeah, Darren, I hear you. I appreciate the call, man. We got to run because we're up against the clock, but I appreciate it. And I think you raise an interesting point. I do think that there is potentially a false sense of security that we got lured into, certainly last year, and to a sense this year, about some of these corners that we thought may be able to step up because perhaps these wide receivers, or maybe even the inverse, right? We thought guys like De'Ami Brown might be taking a step because they were doing it against corners that turns out aren't very good. I will say, as someone who was at a lot of training camp practices, Emmanuel Forbes wasn't doing that great against Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin was very much the best receiver on the field by a lot in training camp, and he torched dudes deep consistently, torched dudes on shallow stuff consistently. Like Terry was making plays all over the place, so I don't get that. But when you say like, oh, Mike Evans torches everybody, like, yeah, he does. And so there is some of this that I think we have to take with not a grain of salt, but we have to be like, well, damn, that's a bad day at the office. At least we don't got to do that again next week. Now, you got 2 weeks. You got Jamar Chase. You got Malik Neighbors next week. But at least you don't have Mike Evans, a particularly large, big-bodied receiver that is a huge problem for the corners on this team historically. And for Forbes, yeah, he's got to play a lot tougher. He's got to play with a lot better leverage. He's got to play with more intensity and physicality. And if he doesn't, then he's going to be gone. And, he did get better. And there is stuff you can evaluate based off of what you saw in camp. But bringing that to the field is no guarantee on Sundays. And Emmanuel didn't bring the good work he did in the last 2 weeks of camp to the field yesterday, which is why we saw the results that they did. That was so much better than when we did that at 4:30, Anthony. Don't tell the 4:30 people. Maybe it's because we played the open.
They're going to hear you.
Even if it was half-baked. Maybe it's because we played the open. The first 3 calls we got when we did Tell the Truth Monday at 4:30 are 3 of the 10 worst calls we've ever gotten in the entire show's history.
Somebody wasn't there. Somebody was talking to somebody else.
Then we just had one dude yelling.
That too. It was a lot going on.
There's a lot of stuff. I almost bagged the segment, but 6:30, I appreciate you. You saved the segment. Tell the Truth Monday returns next week, and hopefully we have some nicer things that we can say about a much better Commanders performance, and we'll have a fully baked open. Maybe they're waiting on us. Maybe this is our fault, Anthony. We're willing to look in the mirror and take responsibility.
This is the Hoffman Show on the Team 980 and the Odyssey app.